Well, have we got a future camping in England and Wales? To put it into perspective, I've noticed, particularly this year, massive price increases. Even on some of the sites that I've been onto, I've seen prices going from that £8 to £10 to £12 to £20. For those that follow the channel, particularly the campsite reviews, you will know that I find some very reasonably priced, if not cheap, campsites in beautiful locations, some with basic facilities, some with full facilities. And when I say full facilities, heated toilet shower block. That's a really good facility. A basic field with a portaloo is a very basic camping situation. But on the reviews, you'll find plenty of mix, all great value. But I've noticed those increases. Now, I know this is May 2025. Within the UK, we know that everything is increasing in price, from your coffee to your shopping. Everything's getting more expensive. And I understand and appreciate that businesses have to increase to maintain their profitability. I have a personal feeling that businesses, and I'm talking about supermarkets, retail, cafes, you name it, and campsites, I have a feeling that there's a bit of price gouging going on. And I feel that, I might be wrong, but I just feel that everywhere and everything, we're getting the increases which are necessary for businesses, but then some more. And particularly with campsites, it's very noticeable to me because I do so many campsites and stop on so many campsites, review so many campsites. Of late, some of the campsites that I reviewed 3 or 4 years ago, at that £8 to £10 mark, they're now up to £12, £15, £20. And just today, I was looking for a campsite for a second night of camping. First night I got sorted in a beautiful location in the Yorkshire Dales National Park. Stunning, very basic, £7 a night. Last weekend, near Settle, basic field, just the toilet, but it was near the pub, next door to the pub. These will all be on the channel. £3. So there are sites out there that you can get cheap, or £10, £12, reasonable price. £15 for me, it's starting to get to a point I don't really want to pay £15. But I'm finding when I'm ringing campsites who don't advertise the price, basic campsites, nothing fancy, nothing better than what I've stopped at cheaper prices, they're coming up with the price. I mean, the most common price I'm finding is £20 and £30 a night. And if you're a solo traveller, that's for one person. Now, if there's a couple of you, if you're a couple stopping in a tent, it's £20 or £30. If you've got 2 kids with you, it might still only be £20 or £30. So effectively, what a lot of campsites are doing, And I think they're all following each other. I think they see a trend and they go with that trend. We have big increases, and we also have minimum pricing structures. So you would say to yourself, well, you might say to yourself, well, you're taking a pitch, so a pitch costs 30 quid, whether it's one person or whether it's 4 people. And you could argue the point for that. Maybe there is a truth to that. But it's a kick in the teeth for your travellers that are cycling, motorcycling, walking, if they land up on one of those sites. Some sites have cheaper rates for walkers if they're on a long distance walking route. But I'm getting really hacked off with it. Thus the title of the video. I literally rang one today. Basic site. Shower, toilet, basic field. Not much else. No, not near anything. Looked very nice. They had availability. There was only 2 other people stopping tonight, which is a Sunday night. Friday, Saturdays can be a little bit difficult. But Sunday nights, normally you can get on anywhere. £30 when I asked the question. And like I do with all these owners, I'm not impolite with them, but I'll just say, is that the price for one person with a small tent and motorcycle? And the inevitable answer is the same with every campsite owner that I ring. These are not big campsites. These are just like farm sites. They're just small little sites. And every answer is the same. And the answer is, well, it does include 2 people, 2 adults and 2 children. And of course, the inevitable is, well, that's a bit unfortunate for us solo travellers. And the next answer is always the same. Every one of these that are priced in the 20 to 30 quid a night mark, every time they answer identically. And the second answer, once you politely question that, not even question it, just it's a matter of statement. And the next answer always is, well, our costs have gone up. We can't afford to do it for less. Maybe some truth in that as well. But it doesn't help a solo traveller. Now, I know some of you wouldn't think twice about paying 15, 20, maybe even £30 for a night's camping on your own. And going back a few years when I was working, because I'm now retired, I had a little part-time job, but I'm retired. Back when I was earning very good money, couldn't do much camping, but did get off occasionally, I wouldn't even think about the price. Paying £20 or £30 a night wouldn't even factor into anything. But as somebody that's retired, I'm in my mid-60s, I'm not on state pension, but I have a pension. But my income is not large. It's good enough for me to only work a couple of half days, more for the social aspect of it, and then travel and camp and ride the bike. But it's definitely on more limited means. So anybody that's retired and reliant on state pension with a little bit of a pension thereafter to go alongside, they'll do very nicely. They'll live pretty reasonably. But they are on more limited means. People that are working on minimum wage and have a family to support and try and pay a mortgage and rent. Limited means. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean they have limited means to go spending on camping and expensive camping and etc. etc. I just need a little bit of a coffee. I like strong, bitter coffee. And clearly from this video you can see I'm feeling very bitter about the price gouging that's going on, in my opinion. So, is this the end of camping in England and Wales for me? As much as I really want to say yes, no, it's not going to be. I have a network of campsites that I've reviewed that are reasonable price, maybe have increased, but have increased with the inflation, with the cost of living, but not gouged the price upwards, not put in place minimum charging. And this isn't just me. I was camping last night and the day before that was speaking to somebody. So at the campsite last night, somebody before that, I didn't bring the subject up. I had somebody say to me, without prompting, what do you think about the cost of camping now? Well, I knew exactly what they were talking about, but I actually said, well, I have a view, but what's yours? And the £30 a night figure was mentioned. So this is a figure that's becoming increasingly more prominent. I have to say, I mean, the £20 is about where a lot of the sites are. So other people are obviously thinking this. It's not just me. It's not just me being a bit miserly, but it isn't being miserly. It is when you're on more limited means, and especially if you do a lot of camping, like I do, you have to try and keep it to a budget. If I only went camping 4 times a year, it wouldn't really matter the cost. But when you're camping a lot, it does matter. So, on the campsite reviews, will I continue doing campsite reviews? Well, yes, but it will be limited by those that are still charging what I consider to be a reasonable price for one person, small tent on a motorbike. And I always used to say that I'd never pay £12 a night for a campsite. Well, I would. I understand that inflation and costs have gone up. Will I pay £15 for a night? No. The only way I'd ever pay £15 if it was late in the evening, I was stuck and I had no option. There wasn't anywhere I could go and wild camp somewhere. Because when you're starting to get towards the £20 mark, I'd rather sleep in a ditch than pay £20 a night for a campsite. And since when did youth hostels become cheaper than campsites? Well, I know youth hostels were never expensive, but campsites weren't expensive. And because I'm so frustrated by this, I've just had a look online now I just picked at random a campsite somewhere in the Lake District and for next week, and sharing a room of 4, obviously, a bunk, £15. Now, that's the Lake District. You move away from the Lake District and or a different season, you'll get lower prices than that. I know I've paid, in a private hostel, I paid £10. It was up at catching a ferry to, I think it was Arran. Might be Mull, I can't quite remember now. And it was a couple of years ago, but it was 10 quid. And you had the whole hostel, obviously, the cooking, everything. It had free toast in the morning and free brews. So when you're looking at the Lake District, since I've mentioned it, I did a little bit of a search on PitchUp, I don't use PitchUp, but I did a search just to see what was available for under £15. Now, this is not all campsites, obviously, but only one came up, and it's one that I've been to before, and I can't even remember the price. It was maybe about £9. I think it was £9, but it wasn't in the central lakes. It was on the northern fringe of the Lake District. One. I do know there's another campsite on the west coast of Cumbria, which I haven't been to yet, but I am going to go, and that's a good, reasonable price. Very basic, but reasonable. And there's a pub. Keep an eye out, because that'll maybe be the next one I go to. Yeah, I'm just fed up. I'm fed up. Couldn't find a reasonable price for tonight, so I just decided to come home. And that's why I'm having a rant. But I think there is some truth in what I'm saying. So, there's some things I'd like out of this. I'd like to know two things. What price do you consider to be reasonable? At what point does it become unreasonable? And base it on the fact that you're if you were solo travelling with your small tent on the motorbike. So, what do you think is reasonable? And what do you think is the point at which it becomes completely unreasonable? And I really want feedback on this. I want to know what other people think. And the other thing I'd like to know from you is, where do you think camping is going in England and Wales? I mean, I say England and Wales. I don't include Scotland or Northern Ireland in this, not for any reason other than in Scotland, and Northern Ireland, I've no real experience of campsites in Northern Ireland, but in Scotland, you can wild camp. Everybody does. And I don't really have a good feel for campsite prices in Scotland, because I have only used one in the last 2 or 3 years. And that was on the Isle of Arran. And that was a very reasonable price. Beautiful location. Reasonable price. Campsite full. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what you think is happening in the world of campsites. Whether you agree or you disagree with me. I mean, we all have our own views. But I would really like to see what you think about the future of camping. Again, England and Wales. I'm just a bit fed up today, but I have been thinking of making this video for the last 2 or 3 weeks now. And I was just really trying to look at examples, but all those examples have come over this last week. Anyhow, thank you for watching. And I really, really need responses on this from you. You might vehemently disagree with me. You might agree with me. It doesn't matter. Whatever you think, put your comments on, because other people would like to see a balanced view on this, and everybody's got a different view. So have your view on it. I don't know how many more campsite reviews I'll do. I'm going away again in a week's time, and I've already decided I'm going to Scotland because I'm hacked off. Anyhow, guys, as I say, it's not just because of today being hacked off. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, and I really wanted to get feedback on this. And you're the right people to get feedback from. Anyhow, thanks for watching. And it's so important that you have your view on this. I know there'll be a couple of thousand people who will view this pretty quickly after publishing. Every one of you, please give me a view on it. I just need to know what everybody else thinks. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully happier weekend next weekend.